Here's Jose Canseco, who looks like the Silver Surfer, sort of a comic book hero, huge, muscular.
Welcome back, guys, to Large Lads episode 16 with your host Max Sheether and temporary guest Sam Sheether. Today we're talking about some of our personal favorite lifting milestones along the way. We've both been doing this for a decade each, and so we've hit a lot of PRs, had a lot of fun moments. I thought we'd go over some of those. A lot of memories along the way.
This is the most boring.
You know, it's the memories and the friends you make along the way that are the real PRs.
Fuck. The one that meant the most to me was seeing my friends succeed. Shut the Alright. You start, buddy.
Oh, God. I think my first 100-pound bench was pretty cool. I feel like I didn't deserve it, but I do remember getting it at the YMCA. That was like when I was just maxing out over and over and over.
I remember this.
And then I finally got it, and it was like such a moment of...
I don't know, some effort. Like, the effort was horribly directed.
Yeah.
But your some effort was like pretty substantial to reach 100. Obviously, it's because you were like 10. But the some effort to get there made it so like it feels like a... Like, I feel like the meaningfulness of a milestone is proportionate to like how much you had to grind to get it. You know what I mean? Like something you really had to dig deep and you wanted to do something else. You wanted to switch and focus on something else, but you're like, I'm going to stick this out. And you keep pushing when it gets really sticky. Like if a lift gets really sticky close to the milestone, you push through. It means a ton. Or you're just like, this is going to get me a bunch of Instagram views and that's why it means a lot. Like I see some of these guys that like genetic phenom, great leverage, deadlift bar, strap, pound plate, figure eights. And it's like, based on their celebration after their 700 deadlift, it means a lot to them. But it's like, Doug, it took you like 3 months to go from 600 to 700 like this. How could it mean that much to you? That's crazy.
I feel like long-term being like fulfilled by a lift, it's definitely like the length in which I grinded for it. But I feel like the in-the-moment joy is almost always how surprised I am that I got it. Like, if I slogged out a lift for like a long time, and like there's so often it'll end up with me getting it and being like, finally I got it done. Like it's more just being like
it's
like,
a relief because you've been putting
relief.
constant pressure on yourself to like every meal, every accessory, got to take it as far as I could possibly take it.
Yeah, then I
like,
don't go home and be like, I spent
this.
the last 6 months trying.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's like it's a relief of like pressure to do one that you're like been grinding for, whereas like if you hit something ahead of schedule, it's just pure hype. You're like, fuck, I
got a comment like, bro, why have you not been going ape? And it's like most of my PRs I've been like, this is on track. And usually if I'm going like ape, it's because I didn't expect to get it.
It was like way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, like a little bit in the back of my mind, I was like,
on the schedule. Yes.
This is a ballsy thing. Yeah, I remember my first 100-pound bench. I remember you would tell me to do dumbbell bench, and I'd be like, that's irrelevant. Why would I do that? I'm leaving.
Max would be like, I'd be like, hey, Max, go do some sets of dumbbells before you leave. And he's like, why? And he would just march out of the gym and then come back and fail 100 again.
Oh, there was sessions where I would attempt 100. I would leave the gym, and because it does not take very long to warm up if you're not warming up. I'd leave the gym. I'd come back. I'd attempt it again, and be like way angrier, and then leave again. And then Sam would finally be wrapping up his workout, and would be like, "What's going on?" I'd be like, "Don't even talk to me.
Don't even talk."
I was a really angsty 11-year-old.
What about 2-plate bench?
Ooh, I did it at Bull Stewart. Shout out Bull Stewart. It's a gym in Columbia City. I think this is when you were at college, maybe.
Okay.
I think I hit it like way later. Like it took me a long time to get to 2 plates.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty normal for people that start lifting pre-puberty.
Yeah.
Like you can get your squat and deadlift kind of moving, but until you get that like muscle mass increase, it's very, very hard to get your bench moving until you're like, I don't know, done with puberty. Takes a while, but like you've experienced like a lot of those effects, then the bench can start moving for whatever reason. Maybe it's just like bench is muscle mass dependent.
Yeah,
having your test levels shoot up helps a lot. But like that's like you see these kids that get really into lifting young, and they're like some of them are doing like these really impressive lower body lifts, but their upper body lifts often will lag behind until they fill out their frame a little bit more.
Yeah, because that's when I was being coached by Winston.
Winston.
And like I like put like many training blocks in to get to a 2-plate bench. I remember like being like I was like fully like I had competed I think maybe twice in powerlifting.
Yep.
Like I was genuinely like training at that point, which is a pretty big pivot from my 100-pound no dumbbells.
You were following a program. You were training.
Yeah,
you were consistent.
I remember the video exactly. Of course, I benched 2 plates at Bull's gym, and I got up. I was like, yeah, and Bull told me to calm down.
So for context, Bull Stewart is a legend of raw powerlifting. Or I guess he wasn't raw; he was single ply, right?
Yep.
Bull Stewart is a legend of powerlifting, like multiple-time drug-tested national champion. Deadlifted like 800 plus back in like the 80s, if I have my dates correct. There's one guy that watches these videos that actually went to like nationals with Bull. Will you let me know the years roughly Bull was kind of at his peak? But like a legend of powerlifting happens to run a gym in Seattle. I happened to do an internship there. Max ended up training there and told Max to calm the fuck down.
Why?
It's just 2 plates
I think he thought I was upset about it. Because I got almost like, like a little.
Bull had the sickest hell of celebration ever. Speaking of, to tell the people,
I have been waiting to drop this. I was like, I'm one day going to do a deadlift worthy of it. He would get up and go, shoo!
It's like it's the highest pitch. It's like, shoo! Like, yep. It's the sickest shit. It's like so not like screaming at the camera. It's just pure joy. It's so hype. It's fucking awesome.
The chew, that's cool. That's straight cool.
The high pitch like shoo, sick as shit. Yeah.
Oh
Dude,
my god,
awesome, legend.
Yeah, I think he thought I was like really angsty about it
Coleman before Ronnie Coleman, dude. Like, yeah, he's like, why are you not making high pitched shoe noises if you're happy, dude? Dude, Bull's a legend, man.
It's also really funny. Sam brought Ray Williams up to Bull, and he was like, he's fat. That
was pretty funny. Yeah, he's like, I could weigh more than that if I was that fat. I don't doubt it. Bull probably could have done more if you.
Bull had like full bicep striations at 60 years old.
Bull at 60 is like just has like massive biceps, huge veins, quads are like massive still, and he doesn't really even lift to maintain it. Absolute anomaly of a man. What about 3 plates?
We staying on bench?
Yeah.
Okay. 3-plate bench. I did it at the YMCA and it was like a disappointment because it was like one of the lifts I failed the most number of times.
I know, so you got it like, it's like almost behind schedule.
Yeah. Where like I attempted it really early and then I missed. And then I attempted it again.
Yeah.
And then I was like on schedule by that point.
That
and
happens to a lot of guys. They start trying to hit 315 before they're ready and they skip everything from like 285 upward. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it ends up taking them longer than if they had just taken those incremental numbers.
Well, that's what
because they're wasting so much training economy trying to jump to it early. I've known a bunch of guys I've coached have gone against my suggestions to just keep attempting 405 early.
Yeah.
I'm like, you haven't done 385 yet. What the fuck are you doing? Like, badly missing 405. Hit 385.
Yeah.
If our progress is going great, we'll look for another 10-pound, 395, 405. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if you just keep attempting it early, that what would have been like a 3 training cycle goal suddenly becomes a year of habitually failing it and burning out and be like, powerlifting sucks. You don't have the genetics. It's like, dude, you're already there. You're just choking it because you want to do it early.
I remember because we like chipped it out, so I did like 295, 300, 305, 310, and then like I think my Instagram caption was like also hit 315 today. Like it was like such a disappointment in my mind to finally get it so late. It was like 5-pound PR. It's not even it's worthless.
What about 405?
So I hit 404 in meet.
Yep.
And then I like with one of my buddies in my basement the next block did like a close grip 405 because it was like a 1-pound PR. So like we kind of
did you or Ode rip ass?
Ode.
Brutal. Wow. Yeah. Jesus Christ. It's those cookies he stole from Kirsten.
Ode the cookie monster.
Ode actually just robbed Kirsten of several maple cookies.
And then 455, I did like a scream run celebration because it was a lift I did not expect to get.
Word.
And then 500.
This block, it's happening.
I'm gonna overreact to that. If I want to tell you something,
get our Prime membership revoked with this celebration.
It took me 10 years. I'm getting.
I think you should flip the power rack afterwards.
I'm getting tight.
I don't think that'd be really funny.
I don't think they'd kick us out
if you tipped it over.
I'm gonna push the bar off the bench to bend the bar.
And it's not even very hype. You just like slowly push it over.
Yeah. So expect the 500-pound bench reaction to be big. So your first 3-plate bench, what week of training you did?
Well, so honestly, my 2-plate I still remember because it was like I've told this on here. I'll keep it short. I'd never seen a decline bench before. I went to an LA Fitness in Portland when we were visiting our aunt and uncle. I was like, what is this thing?
To like cheat your first 2-plate bench.
And I was warming up on it. I was like, this is easy as fuck. This is awesome. Like I remember doing 185. I was like, I'd already benched 185. I was doing a lot of fives, just like standard. Like I was doing 1 day of fives, 1 day of tens by this point. I don't remember exactly what my fives were, but I know I'd done like the 185 for fives by this point. And I did like the 185 on this decline. I was like, this is easy as fuck. This is the coolest machine ever.
Yeah.
And I did 2 plates. It was easy. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
That's
I'm really good at this one.
Yeah, I'm really good at this machine. And then I did 245 for a double. And I was like, this is so cool. So that's my first 2-plate bench kind of. I don't remember because I thought I had already done it basically. I don't even remember my first real 2-plate bench.
That's so funny to like be training and then do like 3 plates in a Smith machine. Like, got it done. I'm really good at this one.
But then you just totally discount your first actual 315 because I already did it in the Smith machine. Yeah. That sounds like something I would have done at this point in time. My first 3 plates I remember was in the Sammamish YMCA with Sterling. Yep. That was pretty hype. I was pretty jazzed about that because I was training really hard for it at that point. Like my training had dialed in a lot. I'd moved up to a 3x frequency. I made some small adjustments to my form. I started to figure things out a lot better, and I was training so hard for that. That was pretty hype.
I do remember one of your friends made like a Sam Sheether hype video. George did.
Yeah.
Look and see if you guys can find that. The Sam Sheether hype video.
And then I did 365 when I was at the UW. Then I transferred to UPS. And I remember my first 405 because I tried to do the opposite. Like I'd seen a bunch of people that I knew at that point make that mistake of trying to do something early.
Yeah.
And I was really kind of bought into that like Bromley-esque base building is key kind of thing of like always need to be gaining muscle.
Yeah.
I've said on the channel a bunch of times, like early on I understood that the difference between me and Dan Green is Dan Green looks like Dan Green and I don't.
Yep.
So I'm like, I need to fix this.
It's really funny. I didn't get that at all. There was a point where I was just like so not muscular. I'm like, why can't I bench 385?
The fact that you were benching what you could bench with how small your arms were was actually pretty wild.
There was a period of time.
It really speaks to your CNS being like gnarly strong.
Yeah,
to be able to juice that much out of like no tech, no arms.
Yeah, my arm was like probably as thick
just
as
a noodle. Your
my elbow, my forearm, and my upper arm were all the
nice.
exact same width. And I remember being like, this is bullshit. Like this is.
So I remember I did like a crazy amount of training in like the high threes area.
Yeah.
I used a lot of variations, but I was doing a ton of Larson pressing by this point.
Yeah.
Because I was getting like great results from Larson pressing. And then at this point I was making use of like an overload session where I would do either 2 boards or slingshots. I don't remember what I was doing at that specific time, but I was like doing tons of like then dumbbell assistance volume. My bench days were like 9 exercises long of like straight work sets on all 9.
Yeah.
So like I was in great shape still from sports, handling a crazy workload. And I remember I did 405, it flew, I moved up and I did 425 that same session. And that was like huge payoff. I've been training so hard for this goal. It paid off.
Yeah.
The plan I came up with worked. I was like pretty hyped about it. 455 kind of felt like logical continuation of like I was like really polishing the things that had been working at that point. Still training at the same school gym.
Yeah.
And I think I went from like that 425 was just another great year of training up to like 475 in that school gym. And then
Oh my god! I forgot your bench PRs go up to 100 pounds more than mine.
Yeah, sorry, I've got some milestones that you
God,
don't have.
I was just thinking, I was like, oh my god, go from 425 to 500. Oh wait, to 600. Shit, it was 550. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, and then I did 500 at Spanaway.
Did you ever do 5 plates, or did you do the 500?
I think I did 5 plates, and then the next week
Did 5.
I did a little deload, came back for jipping out the 5 instead of spanning that out like I should have. Nobody cares about that one. So I remember that, and that was super hype. Probably the most meaningful to date.
Your first
Felt like I
bench?
really like accomplished something because it was like I remember growing up watching like raw powerlifting grow. A lot of the guys in the battle of the 220s, which is the coolest jacked guy weight class, that I was like, I would love to be like those guys one day. 220 is so big.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys didn't bench 5.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, I'm finally doing something, you know?
Oh, I didn't think about like what's my most meaningful bench PR.
And then I was like really possessed from like 500 to 550, where I was just doing like every block 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 10 plus 5. Really like foot on the gas. Like the week after a PR, I would not miss a meal that session. I would go home, I would eat 550 I don't remember 545 or 550 meant more to me because like obviously those are kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
For pound plate users, 545 is 5 plates of 25, 550 being 250 kilos, kind of similar milestones. Both those were pretty meaningful. And then obviously 600 meant a tremendous amount to me because it happened a lot faster than I expected when I committed to it. But also I was digging really deep. Like I gained a ton of weight. I felt like I was fucking dying. So yeah, that was my milestones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Squats.
600 wasn't your most meaningful?
600. I don't honestly. I don't remember because I remember it being like pretty over the moon about 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
At the times, they all felt
Like the most important thing in the world.
yeah, very like meaningful, like equal to meaningful degrees.
Yeah.
What about your squats?
Okay. First, I remember my first 2-plate squat was I think I've told this, but I did 185 for a 5x5, and then I'd fail 2 plates, and I did that for almost 2 months straight. Like I would do 185 for a 5x5. I'm like, okay, I'm strong, and then next week I go and I max out, and I'd miss, and I'm like, dude, I'm doing the equation. Like I had like been doing 5x5s for a while,
And it projected like 40 pounds
yeah,
above.
it was 40 pounds above every single time. Where it's like I did 165 for 5x5, so I could do 205, and then I did 175 for 5x5, so I did 215, and then I did 185 for 5x5, and like at no point did I think like, oh, I should keep progressing it. I was like, no, I'm doing the amount that it
Let's
equals.
do it again.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember
It's
so
also-
many guys would get so fucking weird about their goddamn rep max calculators. Like we knew a couple of guys that would put their projected 1RM in their bio as if they'd hit it. I've known multiple people to do that. 2, guys just pitching a fit. They're like, it's my 10RM says that I can do 250, and for some reason I can't. And it's like, it's a fucking guess. It's a guess. This means nothing in terms of physiology. Like all a 1 rep max calculator is taking a bunch of people on average, seeing how many reps they can get at different percentages to give you a guess of what you're capable of. But guys being like, yeah, I don't know, something's wrong. Like I can do a monster 10 RM projection. And it's like, it's less accurate the higher the reps go.
Yeah.
A. B, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I was always like, oh yeah, my 1RM projects to about 50 pounds less than what I'm planning on doing, so we're in the clear. I'm good right now.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my
You've always lifted so far above projections by being good at singles.
yeah, because even my doubles, I'm
Yeah.
like always like
Way
like,
less than what we're planning on.
Yeah, where it's like you can do 730. It's like add 10%
To this day,
to that. Like,
to this day,
yeah.
I don't think you're hitting any rep sets that project to your maxes.
No, yeah, no. Like I would like. I've done some good.
Single specialist.
My squat
You know.
at one point almost caught up when
Yeah,
I
you're
did
doing those rep sets.
I had like 720 double. That was like that probably projects to close to a 750 squat.
yeah.
That was
Yeah,
probably
that's
closest at the time.
That's closest.
Yeah. My first 3-plate squat, I did 314 in my first powerlifting competition, and that was like training under you.
Yeah.
I didn't like have like a program necessarily, but you would.
I had a system.
Okay.
I had a system. I did have a system. It wasn't like nowadays, would we call that system a program?
Yeah.
Probably not, but there was a system.
I would show up and you tell me what to do.
Yeah, and I had a system for picking what to do.
Yeah, I remember
it
you-
wasn't like the best system, but it was a system.
You like told me to get those yellow jacket knee sleeves, and I had squat
Yup.
shoes. So like, and then I did 314, and then I started getting coached by Winston, and then I got so mad that he wouldn't let me do 315
so
for like months and months. And I only hit 315 when I did it for a 5x5. So my first time ever squatting 315 was for a 5x5, but it was after
Champion.
like months of training. And I remember
About 405. About 405.
405 was in the YMCA, and you said it looked high, and I remember being like really mad at you for the rest of the trip.
Dude, that's so devastating though when you hit a PR and then like someone's like,
Looking back on it, it was down.
that is very emotionally upsetting. Though,
Oh, yeah.
to like hit something and it not be like without a doubt.
Oh yeah, especially because I was like presenting to you like, brother, look at this, and you're like, that's I think high, and I was like, shut up, like,
Shut the fuck up.
It's also really funny.
What about 5
'cause,
plates?
5 plates. Ooh.
Cold Creek?
My first 5 plate. Ooh, I don't know. It's 495 and 500. I think I did my first. I did my first 500. That was the one.
When you came to visit me in college?
No.
What was that?
That was 600.
Oh.
My first 500 was I attempted it. So it was my first 495. I attempted it in our basement on Christmas Day.
Oh, was that what got you?
Yeah, and it folded me, and I like hurt my back, and then
It scraped the back of his head too. 'Cause
yeah, I was
Max
like,
has- to this day, neither of us know how to jump forward out from under a weight. We only know how to fold forward to catches.
so like I scraped on the back of my head. I was just fully crying, like bleeding out of the back of my head. My back really hurt, and then we're like walking upstairs, like, okay. Just so fucking sad. And then I did 500 the next block at, oh my god, Aspire with, I'm not gonna lie, that was a cool session for me because it was all of you and like some of your like college friends.
Yeah.
Like some of the Utah powerlifter dudes. And I remember being like, what's up? I'm like 15, I'm 500 pounds. Isn't that cool, guys? I'm part of the boys.
I'm that guy.
I do remember anytime I trained with you and like people that you knew in college, I remember just being like, I'm so sick. I'm absolutely like, I'm one of the boys. They don't know that I'm not in college.
Gang.
I'm just one of the boys.
It's even better because pre-mustache, Max just looked like a massive child.
Yeah, just being like, oh, what's up, fellow men? We go get a brewski.
We're drinking beer after this?
And then 600 was at the UPS. And I hit 625 that session.
Yeah.
I did 600 and then went up and got 625.
What about 7?
My first 700 pound squat. It was at like 2 in the morning because it was after a pizza driving shift.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And I remember
span was 24 hour.
I ordered a pizza from my job. I ate it in the parking lot and went in and hit 700.
God, that's sick as fuck. And then 800 this block, just like the 500.
Yo, let's go 5 and 8 this block, boys. Mark my words.
I'm skipping all of mine. Mine suck ass.
All your squats.
Half of them I hit it high and then hit it to depth the next block, so there was just no emotional payoff.
Oh,
just
when you had that really
going
narrow
there.
stance, they would like you just like sometimes like
Yeah.
jump the gun and
Yep.
Oh, I feel like that was some of the angriest I've ever seen you. Is when you'd watch a video back and realize it was high, and you're like, can I count it or not?
Yeah, that suck ass. We're skipping all my squats. They're fake. Until I do 800, nobody cares.
All right, when you got a 400 pound log, how's that gonna be?
That'd be all right. I mean, I've push pressed on a bar. Obviously, doing it from the floor on a log is harder.
Oh, we could have gone over your overhead press PRs.
Nah. I mean, I did. The only one I remember was doing like the worst 3 plates ever, where I just folded backwards in half and then stood up.
That's it.
And I'd be like, "Damn, I am so strong." And I watched the video. I was like, "Wow, that looks like shit."
I do remember my first 300 pound overhead press. I like in my mind, I did like a cool lion roar at the top, but looking back, it was a little more like,
that compressed rage.
yeah. And then like I just like saw the video, and you know, it's really cool background reactions of people being like, "What is that kid doing?" Like just like weird looks of like, "What was that noise?"
Yeah.
So that was
people,
really,
people are like, "What was that?"
it's like, that was
Is
so
there,
alpha.
is there an animal being injured somewhere here?
Yeah, like, it's just, like a dog being smothered. All right, your deadlift PRs.
Jeez. I remember my first 500 was at my first meet. That was really hype. It was way above what I projected. Like, the adrenaline paid off.
Yep.
My technique was clean enough for it to work.
Yep.
Big, cool moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. I don't remember my first 300 or 405 or anything like that. Because I was constantly just getting yelled at the gym. Like, I was like speeding through my deadlifts and trying to like hide. 600. I think my first 600 was that terrible conventional pull.
Oh, this is awesome.
So I did 590. Sumo clean in a 589, something like that. Is that a kilo number?
Yep.
I did 589 in I want to say my third powerlifting contest. It's AAU, so it's hard to find on open powerlifting. I think it's under Samuel Shelter, if you wanted to find it. So that was really good. I was on pace for 600, but then I saw memes and I was like, what? Sumo is gay? Fuck. Yep. I thought Dan Green was cool. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do 600 conventional.
Yep.
So I went off to college and I was training nothing but conventionals. I was strong. I had no idea how to pull conventional, and it showed in my pull. Really, really shit lockouts, like just compromising my position a ton off the floor to get it moving. But I was getting stronger. My numbers were getting more and more on par with my sumo numbers, and I wanted to skip right past matching my sumo.
Yeah.
I wanted to just get 600 done so I could go back to my stronger stance.
Yeah.
And I did it so far ahead of when I should have.
Yeah.
That video sucks. It's just so hitched and ramped, and my back is so round, but I locked it out. That was my first 600. I knew it was garbage, so like I wasn't like super over the moon with it.
You know what's a real bummer? I still had that video on my computer, but my computer got destroyed in my car crash.
Oh,
or I would have still had
damn.
it. I had a
I'd post that now.
I have a crazy amount of like early lifting footage of me doing like a work set at like 205 on
that would be
deadlifts and
brutal
stuff.
for me because like, you see some of these guys who are like really strong now, And it's like, holy fuck, you made it to this lift with bad form. You made it to this marker with bad form. That's crazy. You can see their progression of like bad form to good form.
Yeah.
Like that bench transformation video I posted. I'm like pretty pleased with that. Like I cleaned it up. Like, did I have to get really, really technical later numerically than most people? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like I really, really had to dial things in to get past.
Yeah, if you dial everything else in
405.
beforehand, you can kind of put off dialing in your form.
Yeah,
too
and it's
late.
like, part of that obviously is like genetically very good at bench, for sure. Not going to be a dickhead and deny that. Right? But also part of that is because I was doing a lot of other things really well.
Yeah.
My nutrition and my assistance work and all that. And I got short arms.
Yeah.
But you could see it like as the weight got heavier and heavier, I needed to clean up my form more and more to keep getting strong. Because getting stronger got harder and harder. I needed to use other strategies to get more and more weight on the bar and get more technically efficient was part of it. It would be brutal to show my deadlift technique getting better, and then so much worse for the next milestone when I random stance switch.
Most of your PRs were pretty not like. A lot of your rep work got better, but most of your PRs at that point, if I remember correctly.
No. That's after this.
Okay.
No.
You had a deadlift regression.
That's what I'm saying. I had a deadlift regression because my 520 in my first meet, super clean.
Yep.
My 540 in my second meet,
Yep.
super clean. My 589 in my third meet,
Yep.
super clean.
Yep.
All three of those were all-time PRs. All three, most I'd ever deadlifted, wicked clean. It's a weird technical model that I was using, but I was making it work really well. Because I was doing like a very narrow stance sumo, the old frog stance.
Yep.
I was making it work really good, right?
Yep.
And then it got shitty.
I remember your 600-pound deadlift. You sent it to me, and I showed almost my entire English class the video.
Oh, fuck.
Like I was like 13, and I remember like.
Well, at least none of them know enough to know that's bad form.
Oh, a bunch of people were really impressed. Yeah,
There you go.
That's my brother.
Just show it to children that don't lift weights.
Yeah,
They're
it's gonna be me like next week.
Yeah, let's go.
I also remember. Oh God, you were like really jacked in high school, and I was not. And I had a lot of people being like, "Yo, man, you lifting weights, you look like Samson." I was like, "Shut up,
Shut the fuck up." Little did they know, it's actually Sam is going to look like you.
I remember, I think it was the same English class. I had like a girl be like, "Yo, you got like abs. She lifts weights all the time, right?" And I was like, "Shut the fuck up."
Dude, you gotta start bluffing. Someone else at our gym hit Max with you have abs at fucking 340 right now. And he's like, "No, I don't." Fucking nut up and bluff like you did at work.
Yeah.
Like you did at work.
Oh.
Go for the bluff.
Okay, we're not gonna tell my work story.
We're not gonna tell your work story?
That's a long one.
All right, we'll save that for next one.
Yeah.
Max has a really good work story.
Yeah.
Balls of steel. Max attempted to do something extremely funny and failed miserably.
I didn't even. It wasn't on purpose. We had an auditor come in and I bluffed. That sounds really bad.
Yeah, you bluffed to the auditor. But that's what happened. But yeah, so basically, because like I've done a better job managing your lifting than my own.
Yep.
Everything on my deadlift I hit before I should have. Everything should have just been 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
And with a little bit in the tank.
Yeah.
And I would have seen smoother progress.
Yeah.
But I was just a jackass.
That's so funny
And I
that
didn't
you
stop being a jackass. I'm still not a jackass because my current all-time PR is hitched.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big believer that you should mostly be training without a hitch.
Yeah.
My personal belief, right? I'm still doing this bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm training to like the next time I take my next step towards 880, the goal is to do 840, 845 with no hitch.
Yeah.
I need to train until I reckon I can do that.
Yeah.
But with you, especially in your later training career, I'm like, Max, do this number.
Yeah.
Obviously, you could do more. And everybody always comments that on your videos. And it's like, you're able to make smooth progression because we're progressing, but progressing with a little bit in the tank. Like the squat, where we've managed to get better and better and better. It's because we're avoiding true maximal efforts for the most part and seeing progressions at like a 9.5. Where, yeah, you couldn't have done another rep, but you could have done a little bit more weight.
Yeah.
And we're seeing PRs at 9.5. I was never smart enough to do that on anything other than my bench, which coincidentally is my best lift.
Yeah.
Right? I was willing to pace it out because I think I knew I was good at benching, so I didn't feel like I needed to prove it.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna hit 565 and leave it.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna hit this and leave it because I know that'll potentiate future success. I don't need to try to rush something to do it now because why? I'm already good at it, right? The other two, I don't feel like I'm good at them, so I'm like, get it done now, baby.
Show it on. They don't believe I can do the short arms. Watch me. First 700-pound deadlifts.
That was like a reasonably smooth sumo pull, no hitch, no real funny business, bare hand.
Yep.
Like I switched back to sumo, cleaned things up a little bit, and then I uncleaned it up because I was like, I I want to shoot up into the mid 700s.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, the whole thing is nonsense of just like, I've obviously cleaned up my methods finally, but like doing everything really well to then just do a couple things really badly.
It's really funny to be like, oh, like let's go over like some of our personal favorite lifting milestones, and you're just like, God, I trained so stupidly. And I mean,
It's funny because
I was peaked at 14 pulling 500. I was the alpha male of the gym.
It's funny because it's like I know people that like a lot of people I think self-coached or they've different points. I think I train better than most, but like looking back, it's just frustrating to know what I know now and how much better it could have been for the same amount of effort. Like with the amount of effort I was willing to dump into eating and training, I could have organized things better. Yeah, especially in like some of my technical models that I was trying to strive for. Yeah. I was doing that same thing that like weightlifters talk about, which is holy fuck, stop trying to be unique. Try to be very average in your technique, and then eventually you can let that deviate a little bit, but don't immediately try to be unique. Most people aren't unique. Most people shouldn't be doing like Klokov used to do like a staggered stance because of like some injuries. Like his feet were not even. Yeah. And people would be like, that's badass. And it's like, no, fucking Christ. People always want to like, or people will try to force a squat jerk. Yeah. And it's like only extreme people with like great leverages are squat jerking. Most successful weightlifters at the highest level are split jerking. Stop trying to force a squat jerk because the guys you like do it. Yeah. So it's like, you could see that, especially in like that early era of powerlifting, you'd see a guy have unique technique, right? And you're like, he yanks the fuck out of it. And it's like...
Oh, it's funny because that era was not unique.
Yeah, that was not unique back then. But like, different like things that were like unique. And like, I was like, my thing is that I do narrow sumo, which honestly actually worked pretty well. Yeah. That was maybe not a mistake necessarily. Yeah. But there was other things I was doing for the sake of being unique rather than chasing being really proficient at average technical model and then deviating as I needed to from there. Yeah. I think there was a lot of my mistakes and then hitting numbers early. So those are like the big things I look back because it's like the assistance work. I think the selection of assistance work was great. Yeah. I think a lot of the training was great. I think the effort was great. The nutrition was really good. Like based on what I had access to, I leveled up my nutrition, leveled up. Yeah. The technical models I was chasing was fucking dog shit. I need to make another one of those videos where I go back and look at some of my old Instagram training. Yeah. But I can highlight like what I was thinking and how fucking wrong the technical model I was trying to do was. Yeah. And then, then just hitting numbers too early instead of pacing things out properly. Yeah. Those are my main reasons that, like, most of those milestones were, like, soured to me because they weren't undeniable. I should have trained longer to do them to an undeniable standard rather than doing them the second I could do them to any standard. And I think they would have been, like, rah.
And that 800 was probably the happiest lift I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was pretty... That was, like, what we were talking about. That was ahead of schedule. It wasn't supposed to happen yet. Yeah. And I got her done. And it I'd already decided I was doing strongman at that point, so I didn't mind the little hitch. Yeah. Because it wasn't like super pronounced. Yeah. Just a little hitch. And I was like, okay, cool. Within what I'm competing in, that's a legal lift. Yeah. This is sooner than I expected to get this. Yeah. Awesome. Badass. Happy. Yeah. Like you said, it's like almost when you grind for something for longer, it's a relief of a ton of stress to get it done. Yeah. Whereas if you do something early, it is like you don't have those negative feelings of pressure. You just have like, oh my God, like the motivation for the attempt isn't like fear of like, God, I prepped so hard for this. I hope I don't have to, like, I hope I can get it done. Yeah. It's, well, what if I can? Yeah. That's like the best motivation scheme you can have because it's like purely positive and you can get really fired up for it. But yeah, same thing is like that was a good one. The 835 was a less good one. My 815 and my 820 in between were pretty good. But then I wanted to get to that
35
that 35-pound plate. Yeah. So again, I paced it out early, and I didn't do enough training leading up to that to where like again I did enough training to be able to lift it, but not enough to lift it like commandingly. What about you? Just been waiting for this.
I know. I always think your training thoughts are interesting. I learned almost everything I know about training from hearing you rant. So 315 was right before I was coached by, or supposed to be coached by, I almost said his full legal name.
Oscar. His name's Oscar.
Oscar, the guy who faked lifts, was supposed to coach me. And so he was like, you have to go max out so I know where we're starting from. Yeah. And so I pulled my first 315 sumo, fun fact. And then he never gave me a program. So that's where the Mayan calendar program came from.
We haven't explained. We'll do that next episode. Next episode, Max will tell you about his sick attempts at work bluffing, and then also the Mayan calendar training program.
Oh, this is gonna be a heater.
We're gonna start selling.
I think a lot of you guys will really like the Mind Gallon. It's a fun idea.
The greatest program of all time.
Yeah. Okay. So 315. It was like fine. It was just like I knew I was gonna get it going in. 405 was when I was coached by Winston.
Yep.
And that was the same thing kind of as my squat, where like I had pulled a lot of things up to it, and then I remember I did 405 and then 425, and I posted them both, and I was at Bull's gym. I remember being like kind of upset because my 405 was really clean, but my 425 kind of like was ugly, but also it was more weight.
Yeah.
And so I posted both. And then my first
500.
How do I not? What? I should know my first 500 pound deadlift. This is insane.
Nah, big deal. Sped right past it.
Yeah,
600.
I know my first 475, but
600.
My first 600 pound deadlift. Super cool. I just switched to a deadlift bar in the middle of a training block because we were like, oh, I don't think you're gonna pull 600. And then it was like, we just got this rogue deadlift bar, and that was like the block my squat was like going the best it ever could. And it was like, we were like, oh, my squat is gonna catch my deadlift, so I switched to a deadlift bar to avoid that. And then I pulled 600. It moved really good too. Obviously, switching to a deadlift bar really helped. But that was a good one. That was cool.
700.
Let me take a quick pivot. My first 7 plates, one of my favorite lifts I've ever done. That was with Oscar and you and one of your other college friends all in our basement. It was like during the summer.
Adam watches these.
Adam, you were there.
Yeah.
That was peak because it was like your college friends. It was during the summer.
700.
Just hanging out with the boys. Yanked 675.
Seven solid ass plates.
700 pounds. I attempted it. I missed it. I was like, easy, and then threw it down, and I texted it to you, and you're like, that just was not locked out
I remember
at all.
this. You just didn't lock it out.
Yeah. I pulled it and like yelled like, fuck it.
The easy yell on a not locked out pull, I remember being like, Max, fuck.
And so you're like, dude, that just was not locked out. So I was like, all right, I set a 5-minute timer. I put on powerlifting motivation, infinity 8 Oleg, warrior speech.
Let's go.
And I'm not gonna lie, that was like the peak of me being so like I remember being like, this is all you are, Max. Come on. And then I pulled a gnarly brutal 700, like nose poured blood everywhere. I remember I just like kind of like put it down and just like awkwardly walked towards the camera because it was like just truly
it's because he shit himself.
I've never, during lifting, been really close. Never
During
done it.
lifting?
Yeah. Otherwise, drinking.
Well, then your first 800 was your greatest lift ever.
Up to this point, my lifting career, absolutely.
Absolutely the highlight.
Yeah, it was in competition. It was locked out.
Locked out in comp. At the time, youngest man to ever deadlift 800 in a competition. Still the youngest person to do it conventional.
The only person to do it.
The only person to do it. Youngest. Not the only person to deadlift 800 conventional.
Oh, I was saying as a teenager.
Okay, yeah, but so you're the youngest.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy to do it conventional.
The only legit man ever did a little man. That was because I didn't because COVID year didn't compete when I was 18, and then at 19, Sam and I were talking about like potentially wanting to try and do an 800 pound deadlift as a teenager.
Yeah, because we had checked, and it's a slight novelty PR.
Yeah,
because Benny Magnuson did like 835 in single ply.
Yeah,
it's Benny. He could have done this younger.
Yeah,
but it hadn't been done, and we were looking at it. We're like, fuck. That's actually kind of like that's not a state record.
Yeah,
the youngest man to do 800. That's a real thing. Yeah. That's like, Josh Bryant's whole claim to fame was the youngest man to bench 600
which is a bigger feat for sure, but
it's a bigger feat for sure, but it's still like, it's the same idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that actually kind of means something. Is it the same thing as an all-time world record? No. Is it the same thing as like being like an open world champion? No.
Yeah.
But that's the first thing that like we could grasp. That like, I think honestly it's like, it's in the grand scheme of things, like some of the things you'd done prior, like, one of the heaviest totals done at this age, weight class records, you won nationals for the teen 2. Those are cool things. A lot of people might never have something of that magnitude, but this was the first thing we felt was like a magnitude of things that like we watch on the internet.
Yeah.
That was like cool.
Yeah, I remember it was like Eric Lillybridge's teen meet that he totaled like.
And he did 800 flat, right? But it was on pound plates?
Yeah, I think it was technically $7.99.
$7.99?
And it was like, Eric's, it was like 2K meet, and it was like very cool to like beat that that's like having watched that when I was like 12 years
Yeah, that was
old.
like early in powerlifting. That was like one of the.
Yeah, Eric was like one of the first guys I ever heard about in powerlifting because you were like, oh yeah, this guy has like meatballs on his neck, like
Yeah. But yeah, no, I remember like I remember thinking, I was like, fuck, I think Max could do that.
Yeah.
It's just gonna require like I think that was the point at which you had to stop being a gym lifter that happened to pull up well at competitions usually and actually be someone who's training for competitive powerlifting. Like the difference of like, hey, we're not doing any of these nonsense lockouts.
Yeah.
We're training on kilos.
Yeah.
We're pacing things out properly. Like you started to be like much more like I need to be locked in. Every rep needs to be the form that I need to pull this. Like I think that was like a really big like prior to that, you were just like a very strong gym lifter, and then we would go pick good attempts in competition. So it's like you were never like a pure gym. Like that sounds like an insult.
yeah.
But we would train like gym lifters
Yeah.
and then pick good attempts.
Yeah, well, like me hitting a PR on the gym was like
You were training like me.
yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
And then you stopped training like me and started training like an actual competitive powerlifter, which is to increase like the competitive powerlifting result. Your bench pauses got cleaned up. Like you really started putting like thought. And I think it was necessitated to get to that because at the time it was a reach goal, but a goal. Like I remember thinking like Max can definitely do that.
Yeah.
But it's like definitely like, could I see Max just like it popping out of his hand at the top?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I can imagine that so easy. Like that was the most nervous before one of your lifts I've ever been. Because I was like, Max is going to be such a bitch.
Oh,
for
yeah.
months.
Oh, I would have been a nightmare. Years, probably.
Yeah. If this popped out of your hands, you're like, imagine you got hurt after this too. So that was like your pinnacle was like attempting to be the youngest man to deadlift this, and
Yeah.
you drop it, and
Yeah.
you're just like, you're like the guy who like fucking got intercepted at the state championship in high school, and then the rest of his life is a wash.
Yeah, we had like a 7.5 month plan where it was like we were gonna do like 2 meets leading into it, where it was like we did a deadlift bar and we pulled like 350 kilograms, and then we were like, we'll see how close we can get to it on a stiff bar because it's a really good base builder for us. And then I pulled like
Well, especially with your
766.
grip having displayed like not perfect consistency by this point, like
Yeah.
the ability to hang on to a stiff bar was really promising.
Yeah. And then, oh my God, I don't know if I've ever been like more nervous in my life because it was like we did one in Montana just so I wouldn't have to like travel,
Yeah.
so it'd be easier. But it was like 2 hours away, and oh my God, I remember it was like driving at like 5 in the morning because I wanted to get there early, and like I woke up at 3 a.m. to eat a meal. It was like one of the strangest experiences of my life. I remember just being like, if anything can allow me to do this, please let me. Holy shit. Like, just be like, this is, like, I can't imagine that in, like, 12 hours, I'm going to come home the saddest I've ever been in my life or on, like, the happiest. Like, this is such a strange, like, driving towards,
Yeah, well,
like,
I
this,
can't
like,
imagine because it's like the 600. Like I wanted to get it done.
Yeah.
But I could try again.
Yeah.
You know, there was like this repeatability there of like
Yeah.
I felt like I was dying, so I wanted to stop eating. But it's like I was very resolute. Like I would keep doing that for months if I
Yeah.
had to. So, but like I still, when I was going for that attempt, like amazing amount of pressure that whole day.
Yeah.
Like just so nervous all day. Like I was like, my coaching was like the most incoherent messages I've ever sent my clients.
Good job, bub. All right, see ya.
Like no, I was like trying to like make sense and just were not making sense because
Yeah.
I was just like fucking like nervous as shit.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not the same thing. It's like you have one shot at
Oh, I
it.
remember you put it on your YouTube channel, like, Max is going to get
Oh, you were pissed.
4.
You were gonna get it.
Oh,
I was right.
I was like, dude, I'm going to, like,
You gotta start calling your shots and stop being such a soy boy. Cool guys call their shots.
oh my God, yeah, no, that 800 was nerve wracking.
Yeah, I mean, there's something like I like about that feeling of like the bad competition nerves.
Yeah.
Because like I feel awake. I feel asleep 99% of my life.
Yeah.
Like I'm so tired always. Nothing wakes me up like
Fear.
A bunch of people are gonna watch me fail this if I miss.
Oh my God, dude.
I feel awake. It's very nice to feel awake.
I remember putting that down.
Because people say alive, and that sounds a little too edgy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I'm dead most of the time. Like that's a bit much. I just feel really tired. So that's why I've liked the phrasing of like the adrenaline junkie feeling that like might be nice is feeling awake to me, not alive. That's a bit. That's
I feel like that's probably a root of part of the reason you do lifting. You know, if it's one of the only things
Well, no, I just want to be massive.
Yeah, to be a big.
I want to fucking throw big weights around. Honestly, no. The feeling I like the most is not that like feeling awake of competition. Otherwise, I would compete more often.
Yeah.
I'm a gym hero. Clearly, what I like the most is putting a lot of weight on the bar and it feeling easy. That's my favorite feeling in the world. People are like, I love lifting heavy. I was like, I like when it feels light.
I like
that's
the heavy ones.
When there's a lot of plates and it feels light, that's the sickest shit ever. Like I did like one 675 squat at one point that just felt like nothing. And I was like, this is so much cooler than like 50 pounds more, but it feels really heavy and I grind it out for a PR.
Yeah.
Dude, like it feels like nothing. It feels like nothing to me.
That's
so cool.
Yeah, I think 9 plates will be a big one for me. I'm really on the deadlift.
On the dead, yeah.
I think it'll take me a couple of blocks, but I think it'll be a really. I don't know why I'm really looking forward to that one.
It just looks cool. Like we're giving Max the green light to lift on pound plates for a little bit to get his Instagram following above 10K.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, boys.
Because kilo plate videos just get no views. Pound plate videos get crazy views. So we're just we're taking the L on this comp specificity just for a second.
Yeah, somebody be like, yo, now you start training like a real powerlifter. And then
and
right back to a gym.
Right back there.
I thought it was stiff bar, so it shouldn't be as bad.
All right, we should wrap that up. That's probably longest.
Yeah,
we gotta start putting a timer over there. I feel like we started just like zoning out at the end.
Yeah, just chatting. All right, guys, tune into me totaling 21, 30 plus this block. Love you guys.